Hey guys, in today's lesson video, I'm going to talk about the simple one magic move that I personally did in my golf game to take my ball striking to a whole nother level. And this ultimately took my golf game to the next level as well. And now I could hit the golf ball perfectly well with an effortless golf swing. And you can as well if you just know this one simple thing. We have to learn, for a right-handed golfer, we have to learn how to get your left knuckles to point more towards the ground, your left knuckles to point more towards the ground without the golf ball hooking off towards the left. If you know how to do this one thing, you're going to take your golf game to the next level. And because we're squaring up the club face with a supinated release, and because we're delofting our club face at impact, we're going to have the direction that we want. Plus, we're going to turn our 7-iron into a 6-iron, so we're also going to have the distance that we want as well. So if you know how to do this one thing, you're going to take your golf game to the next level. So to feel our left knuckles pointing more towards the ground, I always go back to my phone drill. So what we're going to do is, with my phone, my subscribers probably seen this drill before, but for my new viewers, what we want to do is, and for my subscribers as well, it could be a good little review. What we want to do is grab the phone in your lead hand, and from this position, there's a little bit of a gap in between your lead forearm and your lead wrist and your phone. From this position, we're going to make sure our phone touches the inside part of our wrist in this position right here. It's in a little bit of an extreme bowed position, but we're going to keep this bowed position throughout the whole drill. Now from this position, now what we're going to do is we're going to make a backswing, keep this pressure point throughout the whole drill. We're going to go to make a little small backswing, and coming down, we're going to rotate and supinate while we have the phone in this position right here without the phone coming off of my lead forearm and my lead wrist in this position right here. Once it comes off, you can see that my knuckles are pointing up towards the sky, and we have an early release motion right here. We want to keep this pressure point and learn how to get the back of my left hand to roll over and supinate in this position right here. And that's what we should feel in our release to get into that really good supinated release. So from that position, if I grab my golf club now, let's talk about what we can do to not make the golf ball hook towards the left. So once we get that supinated release, once my logo of my golf club is pointing more towards the ground, and my left palm is facing up more towards the sky. Now from this position, the first thing we have to check is we have to make sure that our club head is on the outside part of my hands and not towards the inside. So if I make a little small golf swing, a little punch shot right here, if my club face is pointing more towards the ground and the logo of my golf club is also pointing towards the ground, but if my club head is on the outside part of my hands, as you can see here, the golf ball is not going to hook off towards the left. But if I get into a position where my club head works behind my hands, in this position right here, and then that's when the club face is going to shut pretty extremely, and that's when the golf ball is going to hook. So that's the first thing we have to check. And the second thing we could check is we could check our lead elbow position. So for example, if my lead elbow is pointed towards the target in this position right here, then from this position, even if my knuckles point towards the ground, I could only turn over so much. So it creates a little bit of a break motion. So for the face-on golf swing, what we want to do is make sure that the inside part of my lead elbow is not pointed out in front, but it's actually pointed kind of off towards the right, and my lead elbow is kind of pointed towards the target. From this position, what you can see is that once your elbow points towards the target, like a Bryson DeChambeau, from this position, you could release as much as you want, and the golf club is not going to turn over. So as long as my elbow is pointed towards the target, from this position, rotate as much as you want, and you can see that the club head is never going to turn over towards the inside. So that's the second way to practice. So the third way we have to practice is that we have to have a late hit, and we have to have the correct sequence. So for example, if we hitting the golf ball with this supinated release, and if the golf ball hooks towards the left, that means that we have a really big hit impulse from the start of the downswing. So for example, if you go to the top of the backswing, and if my lower body works back to my setup position, then from this position, I could release as much as I want, and the golf ball is never going to hook to the left. So even this one, it also can push off towards the right. So this means that I need to release even more. So from this position, once again, I'm going to go lower body back to my setup position. And then from this position, now I'm going to release the golf club. Now from this position, I can't hook the golf ball off to the left, as you can see here. So we have to have a late hit and we have to have the correct sequence. So the first thing we have to do is we have to do the phone drill. We have to know what it should feel like for our left palm to face up towards the sky and for our left knuckles to point down towards the ground. Then from that position, we have to make sure that our club head is on the outside part of my hands and not towards the inside. And from that position, now we have to work with our left elbow pointing more towards the target, so we create a break. And from this position, our club head can never work past our hands. In this position right here, it's gonna be very awkward and it's gonna be very hard. Now from that position, now we have to have the correct sequence and we have to have patience for the top of the backswing. We have to go lower body back to your setup position and then release the golf club. Then the golf club will never hook to the left and we could get our knuckles to point more towards the ground for that compression that we want and that correct release motion without the golf ball hooking off towards the left. So if you guys like the lesson video, please try all these methods out. And if you get your knuckles, so your left knuckles to point towards the ground and your left palm to face up towards the sky, if your knuckles points towards the ground without the golf ball hooking towards the left, then we're gonna create a really good motion and you're gonna take your golf game to the next level. So try this out, and if you guys like the lesson video, please like and subscribe to help my channel grow. And for in-person or online lessons, I'll leave all the information in the description below. Thanks guys.